Hello and welcome to the Geek Elite podcast. With me, as always, is my fellow chief geek, Adam.
Hello.
And I am Rob, and today we're going to be talking a lot about Star Trek related issues.
Oh yes, lots to talk about.
And there's a few other bits of news which have happened during the week, which I think we'll kick off with straight away. What do you want to talk about? What have you seen?
We've got some trailers. We've had a new Rogue One trailer released.
Yes.
Behind the scenes footage.
Yes, from Star Wars Celebration.
Yes, which I absolutely loved.
It was good.
I thought I've never got so excited about a trailer before.
Really?
The music that they used and the way they edited it was just genius.
It was a very good trailer. It really did excite me for the film.
It got the hairs on the back of my neck standing up.
Really?
It really did. Particularly the bit where it flashed up all the images of characters' eyes.
Yeah, it did a quick.
It was just really quick.
Blast,
It was just the combination of the editing and the music was just fantastic.
Just seeing the new environments and new characters in action.
It looks so exotic, doesn't it?
It does look nice. Places. I like the look of the tropical, the tropical paradise
palm
looking.
Trees with AT-ATs walking through.
Stormtroopers walking out of
the ocean.
Out of a clear blue ocean.
Yeah, that's it. It's just like nothing we've seen in a Star Trek film.
And it's so
films.
Star Trek.
Oh, I just committed the cardinal sin.
Live long and prosper.
Yeah. It's like nothing we've seen before.
No. And I think it's the weird thing with the AT-AT walkers that we've only ever seen them in the Star Wars universe against that white background of Hoth.
Yes.
And now to see him in the sun-drenched paradise.
We saw him briefly in Endor. You saw one, didn't you? But it wasn't really doing anything.
That's true.
It was just
standing there. It was literally just
but we
a transport as what they are.
Exactly. But we've certainly never seen them in a sort of a tropical environment.
No, especially in a combat situation.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. Obviously the technology now compared to when they filmed the Hoth scenes is improved so much that they might actually interact more in a combat situation now, which would be nice to see.
It's very exciting. I think this is. I'm more excited for Rogue One than I was for The Force Awakens.
I am. Without a doubt.
I think it'll be a better film as well. Do you really?
I really do. Well, as much as I like The Force Awakens, it wasn't actually a good film. That's quite a bold statement, but it was just a remake. And it had a lot of poor story elements in it. It was fun, but it wasn't a great film.
No.
Whereas I think this one could be. Because even though we know what the story is going to be, roughly,
it's still a unique story though, isn't it? It's not...
Yeah.
And we're not necessarily going to be associated. It's not going to be centred around characters that we know.
Which is good.
The main, I suppose the prime storyline, which is the 1 to currently 7, is it follows the same family, the Skywalker family. So it's not going to deviate much. But this one, it's got the freedom to experiment with different characters and to take them different places and have them. Because when you're talking about the Skywalkers, you're thinking Luke. There's certain ways you know that Luke's going to behave. Yeah, he's not suddenly going to. Well, I don't know what that's 8 and 9 are going to bring, but he's not suddenly going to turn around and decapitate Chewbacca, for example. No. Whereas in this film, anything goes. Yes. Really, I mean, as far as
we don't know much about the characters in this film.
No, and that's good. I like
which is good, and going by the trailers, the look. I mean, particularly of Donnie Yen's character.
Yes,
he looks like sort of a monk type character fighting with a staff. I mean, it just looks
because
cool.
that's the era in the Star Wars universe without Jedi or Sith.
But it is
to an extent. There obviously are some around, but they're slowly being.
Well, that's it. Well, it's
killed
before
off by
Obi-Wan
Vader.
came out of hiding.
Because
it leads right into A New Hope. So it is basically when they're all the ones that are left.
Luke's still a farmhand.
That's it. Yeah.
Vader's
hunted down
and killing the Jedi off.
Yeah. Obviously, it's been confirmed now that Vader is
in it,
which is great.
Yeah, Han Solo is not.
No. Which I'm not surprised about.
No,
because it wouldn't have made sense.
Well, to be honest, I didn't think he'd be in it anyway.
No, but
I don't know why people were shocked by this.
He doesn't play any part of the story until A New Hope.
No, I mean he's not even, and the fact that it's not even that. It's not even that far from A New Hope, so you'd literally have to CGI.
Well, exactly. That's it.
Harrison Ford.
You couldn't have Harrison Ford in it looking as he does now, and you couldn't have the new guy who's playing a young Han because he's not young Han. the time frame it's set in is directly before A New Hope, so it really would have to look the same.
A month younger than he's in A New Hope, for example. Yeah.
I mean, they're still not confirmed, but the rumour is that the end scene of the film will basically lead directly into A New Hope, with possibly the plans being given to Leia.
Oh wow,
that's the rumour.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah, it could actually have the Tantive 4 at the end of the film, and the plans going to Princess Leia, and then being chased by the Star Destroyer. That's the rumour that's how it's going to end.
That'd be interesting to see.
But apparently, it's not even been decided by the directors yet how they're going to end it. They're still thinking about.
Still working on it.
They're doing reshoots at the moment.
Oh right.
And they've actually called in another director, the same guy that helped finish off Godzilla. My mind's just gone blank. What's the name of the director of this one?
You know what? My mind's got. Is it Gareth Edwards?
Gareth Edwards, that's it. Yeah. When he did Godzilla, he had a friend of his come in at the end to help with the editing process, and the same guy is now come in to help editing Rogue One, because apparently it is a really hard film to edit.
Yeah.
They've been doing reshoots, which is nothing new. All films have reshoots these days. But yeah, apparently he is playing quite a major role now in getting the editing right. So, and they're still deciding how to end it.
Wow.
So there, yeah.
When is it out? It's out December
16th.
December.
Yeah. So
December 16th,
coming around
2016.
Quickly. Yeah.
Wow. Look forward to that then.
It's going to be a good day. Right. Other than Rogue One, there's been a couple of other trailers out recently.
There has.
Namely from the DC universe.
There has.
Justice League and Wonder Woman.
Yes.
Both released at Comic-Con.
Yes. What did you think?
Let's
start with Justice League.
I'm looking forward to it. I didn't like Batman and Superman, as you know. I think the Justice League film has more potential than that does. I love that Aquaman is there. I don't know the character of Aquaman, but I like the actor Jason Momoa, who I've actually liked since before he was famous. I am. I liked him. He was in Stargate Atlantis. That was his first big breakthrough.
And of course, he was Khal Drogo.
And of course, that was sort of made him world famous. Yes. But he didn't do a lot of actual acting in that, did he? Let's be honest.
And he was Conan.
And obviously Conan, and then he did a film with Sly Stallone as well, didn't he? I can't remember.
Possibly, I have no idea what it is. I'm sure a lot of people don't know what it was either.
Yeah, he didn't do particularly well, but his big breakthrough role was on Stargate, and you could see his sort of star potential back in there.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they've got him playing Aquaman.
Yeah. Very different to the comic Aquaman of that sort of clean-cut blonde, orange and green.
I've heard that, again, I don't know the comics, but I've heard that there were lots of different versions of Aquaman through the years. I
think lots of different iterations have tried to make him cool.
Yeah, he started off as a really rubbish, weedy
his superpower is essentially he can control fish.
Yeah,
that was it. There's the original concept.
Odd.
He can just control fish.
Yeah,
great.
It's not much of a superpower, really.
Yeah, no. And I think in the sort of over the years they gave him more powers. Where they gave him some sort of supernatural gauntlet, which did something or other, and they tried to do various variations.
I'm guessing he's going to be able to sort of control water or something.
Yeah,
would make sense, wouldn't it?
Yeah,
cause tidal waves or typhoons or something like that. But I don't know. I don't know the other characters much. Obviously, you've got Flash, who is very big in the TV world at the moment. But
it's very strange in the trailer when Ben Affleck refers to him as Barry Allen.
Yeah.
When fans of the Flash TV show, I like the Flash TV show.
Yeah.
He's Barry Allen, and to them, he is Barry Allen.
Right.
And to see this other guy getting referenced as Barry Allen is very peculiar. It's a shame they couldn't tie the TV show in with the film. But I understand they're two separate things. They're very different styles. The dark edginess of the movies wouldn't work if they was to be combined with the sort of quite camp TV shows, but I understand that. But it's very strange. But
I like the look of the actor though playing him in the Justice League film.
Yes. I
don't know who he is or where he's come from or anything, but I liked him in the trailer. I thought he looked quite funny, as a character. He seemed to have a bit of humour.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because I feel the trailer as a whole had a lot more humour to it.
Yeah,
I think Warner have looked at how po-faced and serious Batman v Superman and Man of Steel was, and I think they're just trying to lift it to I hate to say Marvel standards of comedy, because the Marvel films they are very serious at times, but they're also very light at the same time.
Which action films need. They need that nowadays.
I mean, it's a comic book. I do understand there's a place for these things to be very serious. I think Batman as a character should be treated quite in a serious way. I've got no problems with Batman being very serious. For example, if he was wisecracking, it just wouldn't work. So it's not Batman to me.
But you can have individual characters within a movie as humorous, and it looks like the Flash is going to be that character. I would have thought. I mean, Aquaman's certainly not. I don't think he's going to say a lot, really, is he? He's quite certainly in the trailer. He doesn't say a word, does he? So I think he's going to be all action and not a lot of talk. Yeah,
and you got Cyborg.
Yes,
who's also a Teen Titan. I actually hate to say it, but the most I know about Cyborg is there a TV show called The Teen Titans or Teen Titans.
Yeah.
And it was originally quite a serious cartoon, and then they've turned it into this ridiculous, wacky, daft thing, like self-referencing thing. And it's just, I quite enjoy it, and that's pretty much how I know Cyborg. But he looks like an interesting character. Mm-hmm. He looks quite good. And obviously you got Wonder Woman, who introduced in Batman v Superman, so we know what to expect from Wonder Woman. I mean, well, speaking of Wonder Woman...
Yeah, we've got the new trailer.
There was a new trailer
for her origin film.
Which the only way I could think of it is Captain America meets Thor. As in, it kind of had that World War II... God...
Yeah, I see where you're coming from there, yeah.
Sort of... she's not Norse, she's Greek.
Is it World War II, it's saying?
I think it's World War II.
Or was it World War One?
Maybe there's a twist.
Which one was Captain America?
World War Two.
I think Wonder Woman is World War One.
Oh, okay.
I could be wrong there, but I'm sure that it's the opposite to Captain America.
I'm
pretty sure.
Oh, I didn't realise that.
And I love that Chris Pine is in it.
Yeah,
I'm a fan of everything he does.
We'll get onto Chris Pine in a bit. Of course it does look good. I must admit, I thought Wonder Woman was extremely good in. Batman
she was the highlight of that film, I would have thought.
I wasn't expecting big things from her, but the scene where she first appears in Batman v Superman, did it
get you excited?
It did. It did.
I can't remember it, to be honest.
Can you not?
I wiped that whole film from my memory as soon as I walked out.
There was spoilers for Batman v Superman, but it's when Doomsday is about to fire his, I don't know, face lasers at Batman.
Yeah.
Batman's oh god.
And she comes in with
she's got her arms crossed against her gauntlets.
Yeah.
And the music just does it.
Really?
If you go on YouTube or buy the CD and check out the track called off the Batman v Superman soundtrack called "Is She With You," it's superb.
Really?
Yeah, it's brilliant. That makes the scene for me.
Yeah.
It's brilliant.
I'll take your word for it.
Thank you.
but no, I am looking forward to the Wonder Woman film. More than Batman and Superman I wasn't looking forward to, and I didn't like it.
No.
Wonder Woman I am looking forward to. I think there's potential there for good because it's set in the past. Because it's set in that era,
isn't it?
Because I'm a huge fan of the first Captain America film because it was set a long time ago. I just think I love the style of that.
Yeah, and
so I'm hoping that this is the same.
And I think it's the same with Thor, for example, for Marvel. It's that with Batman and Superman, obviously, they're very contemporary. One's sci-fi. Obviously, Superman is an alien. Batman's very grounded in the sense that it's
a bloke in a
real life, obviously, but it's quite realistic in the sense that it's a guy who wears a suit. Is a rich man with too much time on his hands. Yeah. Whereas with Thor and Wonder Woman, you got that supernatural, godlike element which you can play with a bit more. It's a bit,
especially
more
being in a past environment. It seems like they're even more powerful because of the human aspect of it being longer ago than now. You know, the technology, whatever nowadays, if Superman actually turned up in real life, we'd all just look at him and go, "Oh, cool."
We'll be staring at
Pokemon
Go.
Whereas if he turned up in World War One, World War Two, it would be, "Whoa, what is this? He's a god." Because back
then, I don't know if people in World War Two were necessarily cavemen, but
no, but back then there weren't even stories about superheroes. I know I'm being a bit meta here, but it's kind of. Yeah, you know, to them, it's even more amazing.
The superheroes, I think sort of came about because of World War One and Two. I think it was that. I mean, right, I'm sure comic fans would think this is an obscene thing to say, but as far as I'm aware, that sort of superhero, superhuman thing came from obviously the terrible things that happened in World War One and Two.
Yeah,
and it's just give people a little hopeful stories to actually give something to
again, I don't know
to.
when Marvel started, but I'm sure that was the 60s. I seem to recall.
Possibly.
I could be wrong there.
Possibly. But Stan Lee himself was in World War Two.
Yeah.
Which is a bizarre thought.
Yeah, it is a bit.
He was actually, I believe, he was stationed with Dr. Seuss.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Obviously, he wasn't known as Dr. Seuss.
No.
But I think that's true. I mean, that may be completely false. Maybe that's one of those internet rumours. But again, I'm sure there's comic book fans that will be screaming.
Probably, but never mind. They can leave a comment and correct us. That's fine.
Well, Sodom. Where's your little podcast? You haven't got one, have you?
This is our podcast. We'll say what we want.
Say what we want. But to go back to the trailers, they do look interesting. I will be going to see them. But I enjoyed Batman v Superman.
That's because you're strange.
I know people hated it, but there was something
everyone
about it.
Hated it, Rob. Everyone,
yeah, that's true.
Apart from you.
Apart from me. To be honest, the Batman bits got me. I love the Batman bits. Yeah. I think Ben Affleck is the best Batman.
I agree with you there. Yeah.
Fantastic. He's
hang on.
Excellent Batman.
Except for Michael Keaton.
No,
I think of the recent incarnations, he's the best. I will always be a big fan of Michael Keaton. And obviously Adam West. But.
Adam West is the best Batman, obviously. I think he brought I think he understood the character, and I think even his Bruce Wayne was more likeable.
Yeah.
I know Bruce Wayne is his alter ego. He's not supposed to be like. He's supposed to be his sort of playboy who's just not supposed to be likeable because he's supposed to be not so people didn't suspect he was a vigilante.
Yeah.
But I thought he was a likeable Bruce Wayne. I thought he made it feel very real.
Yeah. I think Ben Affleck is a much underrated actor. Now.
Never
used to be. I mean, look at Armageddon. And as much as I love that film, he's terrible in it.
It's a terrible film.
No, it's not a terrible film. It's one of the greatest films of all time.
Well,
but that's a discussion
for another time.
But no, I think Ben Affleck is developed into a very good actor, and I do think his portrayal of Batman was
a good director as well. Really good director.
Yeah, I've not actually seen any of his films that he's directed, but I've heard good things. Yeah, obviously they won lots of awards.
Well, I think he's actually directing and starring in the standalone Batman film.
Oh right, yeah.
Which would be very interesting. I would very much like to see that.
I'm sure you would.
Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, when are they released? Is that they must be next year?
I believe they're
next year, aren't they?
Both next year, I think. Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'll certainly be going to see them. Will you be going to see them?
Yes.
Good. Moving on. Okay, so should we move on to the final frontier?
Let's.
Star Trek
Beyond.
Actually, no, before Star Trek Beyond.
Yes.
The TV show. Have you heard about this?
What about it? I know it's happening.
It's called Star Trek Discovery. Did you see the teaser trailer?
When was this released?
About a week, 2 weeks ago.
No, you are kidding me. How have I missed that?
It's not in depth.
Or hang on, was this the trailer that actually didn't do anything other than show a symbol of Star Trek?
No.
Oh, there was actually some images.
It actually shows the ship.
Really?
Yeah.
How have I missed this?
Why
have you not told me about this earlier?
Sorry.
Why were you not straight on the phone to me telling me to watch this?
We may be pausing this and watching this trailer in a second. But it's called Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
The ship is called the Discovery, the USS Discovery. I'm not sure the time period when it's set. I believe it's between the original series and Next Generation.
Yeah.
I think, although there's some people saying that it's between Enterprise and the original series, which to me is ridiculous if that is the case. If it is, fair enough. But
right, well, it could be.
But the trailer basically just shows the space dock opening and the ship leaving the space dock, but you don't see any characters. There's no dialogue or anything like that. But it looks interesting. The ship itself looks quite strange. It looks a bit like a Klingon bird of prey,
really?
Which is a bit strange. But so Star Trek Discovery. You have to check the trailer out. And but I thought we're on a Star Trek tip. There's not really much to talk about, to be honest, because it was literally just.
Do you know my big problem with this TV show is that it's going to be on a channel that we won't be able to watch unless we pay.
I believe it's been registered to Netflix.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can watch it.
Good for you. I'll have to come around your house.
We'll go and watch Star Trek. Yeah.
It just frustrates me that all these big shows now are just being bought up by all these companies that you have to pay extra to
more
watch.
and often they'll go to Amazon Prime.
Yeah. Or it's just annoying.
Netflix or
not everybody wants to pay a fortune just to watch a TV show.
Yeah. It's not too bad. $7.49 a month.
Well, I don't want to spend $7.49 a month.
Don't you?
Just
to Star Trek then, do you? Buy the DVD.
Anyway, that's just me being a grumpy old man.
Yeah, let's not talk about Netflix.
Let's move on to
its wonderful service. If you're listening, Netflix, if you want to sponsor me, that's fine. But yes, let's move on to the Star Trek movie that has just been released, Star Trek Beyond. Okay, so I managed to see Star Trek Beyond last week, and I believe you saw it earlier in the week as well.
Yes.
I don't know what you think of it. We've actually abstained from talking about this.
This is the first time we've discussed this.
So we don't know what each other's opinions are. Sometimes we do agree, sometimes we have very polarising views. Yeah. Shall I say what I thought of it first?
Yes, go ahead.
I very much enjoyed it.
So did I.
Good.
However,
it wasn't perfect. It wasn't perfect.
I enjoyed it as a film, but I didn't think it was particularly Star Trek-y.
See, I thought it was more Star Trek than the others.
Really?
Yeah. It felt more like a Star Trek. It felt like more like one of the original series movies, like in the middle of the run.
Yeah.
Sort of Star Trek
maybe
3
that's
and
not
4, which is, I think they was kind of going for that search for Spock's type of vibe anyway. Yeah. They seem to be following a pattern of literally just copying the films in order.
Yeah. I don't think I meant it's not Star Trek-y. What did I mean? It wasn't in the same style as the first two.
I agree with that. It
didn't have a big opening scene, which I thought let it down.
The weird thing is, I found that the first hour of the film felt like it should have been the last hour. In the sense that it was very fast-paced. I think it was a really well-paced film, and it was exciting from pretty much from start to finish. That we will be spoiling the film, so I do apologise if you haven't seen it. Stop listening now, because we are going to spoil this film.
Yes. The
destruction of the Enterprise was fantastic.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
It was superb.
Yeah. But before that happened, I thought it moved too quickly from them going on shore leave, and then suddenly that happened, and suddenly they were off shore leave and going on a mission. It was all, to me, there wasn't a lot of explanation as to why they were chosen to go on this mission.
I feel it did feel like there was a lot edited out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I know, I agree with that. So they turn up to the space station.
Yeah, and you see them all going off in their, going off their own ways.
Sulu goes off with his family.
Yeah, which I thought that was a nice touch, seeing him with a husband and a child.
It was good, but apparently George Takei didn't agree with that.
Really?
He said that. Obviously, I'm sure he appreciates the idea of
obviously his character wasn't homosexual in the original, but he was.
So that's why I think it's a nice nod.
So it's a nice nod, but
I think George Takei didn't. I think he appreciated it. I don't think he liked it because it wasn't. I think he appreciated. Gene Roddenberry's vision. I think it slightly betrayed Gene Roddenberry. I don't know. That may be just filtered through lots of different.
Yeah. Of course.
Mediums, but that's the impression I got. But anyway, but yeah, they sort of all went off in their own way.
It's
and
like
then it was almost
they've waited all this time.
Come to my office.
Yeah,
here you go. You got a mission.
And then suddenly everyone's back on the ship again. Yeah, it just though that little 5-minute scene seems like it might have been 10 or 15 minutes to try and just explain what's going on a bit more.
Yeah,
but like I said, it didn't have an opening scene. In the first film, obviously, you had the whole scene in the past with his dad getting killed and him being born. And
we'll talk about that in a bit.
Spectacular. And the music, I thought it missed. This film missed so many music cues. That when the music kicks in, it's so big and dramatic. Dun, 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 dun. That just now that gets the hairs on the back of my neck standing up. It really does.
Yeah.
And obviously that's what plays at the end of the opening scene of the last two films, and it needed it again.
What was the opening of Into Darkness?
It was the scene on the alien planet with the volcano.
Oh yeah, and the Enterprise rising out of the
but again, it wasn't just a daft opening scene. It had relevance to the ongoing story. Because obviously, it had the whole Spock and Uhura relationship, and then
needs of the
needs of the many outweigh the needs of the one. Exactly. It had a good purpose to the story.
Yeah.
But this one, I can't even remember how this film starts because it had
nothing.
I
can't either.
No, that was for me. That let the film down from the get go.
Yeah.
It didn't have that big dramatic
it's a very cold
build
start.
up to the opening credits sort of thing. You know, I mean that music. When that music goes, you need a big build up and a big yes moment. That's when the music kicks in, and then the film starts. And it didn't have that, and I thought that really let down the opening of the film.
Oh, it kind of had that. It kind of had a comic relief opening, didn't it? Where Kirk's negotiating with that race of giant aliens.
I didn't like it.
And they roll down the hill and it turns out they're tiny.
Yeah, I didn't like that at all. It was very. I thought that was a very strange opening to the film.
It didn't really explain as well. I think it was in there to show because Kirk had the artifact. But it didn't have any relevance to that scene.
No, it didn't.
It just showed us, Kirk's got an artifact.
Yeah.
But it didn't explain what it was.
No. And then the ongoing story of that artifact and the bad guys, which I'm sure we'll discuss more in a minute, I still now can't remember. I can't understand the story of what this artifact was, where it came from, how Kirk got it. Was it just a massive coincidence that he got it, or what?
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
And then Idris Elba was the bad guy. I don't understand. Again, massive spoiler. He is an old captain from the USS Franklin, which they find on this planet. I cannot fathom how he is alive 100 years later and changed so much. What has done that to him? I never got that from the story.
I must admit, I didn't
understand
why he had turned into an alien.
No, he just transformed and then gone against Starfleet as well.
I think the whole point of that is, I'm sure we'll talk about this properly in a moment, but I think the point of that is that he felt betrayed by Starfleet because no one came back for him.
Yeah,
because he went through the nebula.
They didn't know where he was. As simple as that.
Yeah,
it seems odd that a dedicated Starfleet captain would just turn into a bad guy
and attack his own.
Yeah, and want to then kill millions of people.
The entire population of a space station.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seemed a bit odd.
It is very strange. I do think a lot of it was ill thought out, but in general, I thought it was a very good, interesting, very fun film.
It was a good film. It was fun, but it wasn't clever like the first two. It wasn't well written. I didn't think.
No.
And again, there were moments. That music moment when the music kicks in. Mm-hmm. If you remember in the second film, the bit where the Enterprise is plummeting down through the atmosphere and it's got no engines to levitate.
It comes through the clouds.
And it sinks through the clouds, and then the music kicks in just as it bursts back through the clouds, and it's a real yes moment. There was a moment almost duplicating that in this, wasn't
there? Going down the side of the cliff
in the Franklin.
Yeah.
And you see it plummeting and plummeting and plummeting, and it dips below the line of the trees, and then the music starts, and I thought, yes. And then the music cuts out completely, and then the Enterprise comes up, and you lose that moment of, yes, they've done it.
Yeah.
It didn't have it, and I was so disappointed that they never actually used that bit of music in the whole film. They kept on using a bit of it and then stopping it dead.
No, yeah, I did find that.
I don't know why.
They even did that with the original series that...
Yeah, that was in there in places, wasn't it? Yeah.
But it did the first two chords of that.
Yeah, and then stopped. Yeah. I just don't know why they would have done that.
No, I think the music... It was good, the music, but I think it did let itself down in places by not...
Without a doubt.
And sort of music, I didn't particularly... In the trailer, I didn't like the Beastie Boys song. Yeah. I like the actual song itself,
but... And it works in the first film, it works
bizarre.
Well.
But then... when that was what you realise why that was in the trailer and how it's used in the main film.
Bizarre.
Very bizarre. I don't understand. Again, I'm going to do a spoiler warning, but if you got this far, you've had most of the film spoiled for you already. But how does the Beastie Boys song, how does old music blow up the ships
exactly.
that it spreads to.
Again,
I understand it's disrupting the communications and not being able to communicate with each other.
But it said it causes them all to explode.
But why do they all explode?
It was poor writing again. It just was. It was never explained exactly what they were doing. It was an excuse to have the Beastie Boys music used in the film.
It did seem like a...
It really was. Yeah.
It was not an excuse, but it did seem like a reason to have the Beastie Boys playing during an action-packed scene where the Enterprise was almost surfing a half tube or whatever they call it for surfing, where it's going down, all the ships are exploding around it. I get it was a nice set piece, but not very Star Trek.
No, it wasn't.
Star Trek to me I love Star Trek, but it is quite a nerdy show.
Yes.
And to have an enemy destroyed by rock and roll, it seemed a bit weird.
Well, and then of course early in the film you had the whole motorbike thing as well.
I didn't mind that actually.
No, it was a good scene, but when you actually step back and look at that, why was there a motorbike on the Franklin in the first place? It was there so that he could have an action scene involving a motorbike. It is as simple as that.
That a member of the Franklin would take a motorbike
into space
to the bridge. As well.
Yeah.
I'm going to put my motorbike.
And then it survived the crash and
had petrol in it as well.
Had petrol in it. It was bizarre.
Still worked.
It was purely there so that Kirk could go riding and have an action scene with a motorbike.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it was the reason, but the director, Justin Lin, Fast and Furious.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Which I think he did a very good job. I'm not saying he could only make Fast and Furious films, but it did seem a bit.
Yeah, it was peculiar. Forced. It was forced. Just to it was almost meter. What I call meter writing. They write something in purely to set up a scene later in the film.
Yeah.
Not to actually tell a story. Yeah. And that's what that motorbike was. It was setting up an action scene.
It's unnatural. Yeah. It's like they worked backwards. I want a scene where Kirk rides a motorbike.
Yeah.
And does a big dive in midair and gets transported. Right. How do we make this happen?
Yeah.
Let's get a motorbike on the spaceship.
Yeah.
Why is it there? Doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It's there.
That's exactly what's happening.
It's fine. I mean, I understand.
It was still fun. It was still a fun scene.
Yeah, I can,
suspend my disbelief. Why make it an old 70s motorbike? Because that is for them. Considering that this is like 200 years in the future or whatever. That's a very old motorbike to still be running. Yeah. Why not just make it a futuristic bike?
That would be like riding around on an antique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange that would still work.
Exactly. After a couple of 100 years,
I understand if the person who had that looked after it.
Why not make it a futuristic motorbike?
Yeah,
that would be more realistic, and you could still have the same action scene later on.
It does seem strange, doesn't it? That it happens actually in the series as well, where they have characters that reference 20th century things.
Yeah,
which we can relate to because we're in it. But it seems strange that someone hundreds of years in the future would still be referencing these things.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems odd. I get it why they do it, but
it doesn't make sense because it's like us talking about things from the 18th century instead of the 20th century, isn't it?
Yeah.
Which we wouldn't.
Like when Kirk sees the bike, I don't know what the bike was, so I apologise for bike fanatics anyway, but he sees it and goes, "Oh, look at this, a Honda 12 or whatever."
Yeah.
It's like, that would be like one of us seeing a penny farthing and going, "Wow, look at this!
Yeah. It's a penny farthing V8.
It's a Hammer and Smithson." it's like it wouldn't. I don't know. It just seems strange.
It's forced. It's really.
And
forced.
The Beastie Boys plays, and McCoy says, "Is this classical music?"
Yeah.
It wouldn't be classical music.
No.
Classical music is its own thing.
Yeah.
If in the future, if music is still a big thing in the future, that would what we know as classical music would still be classical music.
Yeah.
And that would still be hip hop or rock.
Yeah, music's not going to change that much.
No, the genres don't become something.
I think it shows that Simon Pegg co-wrote the script. I do. I don't think he was the right man to try it. He's a comedy writer. Yeah. He's not done a lot of writing, as far as I'm aware. Obviously, he did Space. That was his big thing.
Did he write Paul?
I believe he co-wrote Paul with Nick Frost.
I liked Paul, actually. I won't go into Paul, but I
did. I thought that's a great film. But that's what he's good at. This isn't a comedy film. And I think it did show in some of the humour. I know what I did like about it. I think we've gone over the negatives there.
Yeah, I think we are. Yeah, we're getting negative. I want to reiterate, we liked the film.
We did.
I like the film.
I did. I would be more than happy to watch it again.
I would watch it again, and I'd watch it again and again. I probably will watch it the same as amount of times as I watch the originals.
Yeah.
One other thing, it's not negative, but I will feel like this one. I don't know if it's because J.J. Abrams wasn't attached to it. I mean, I'm not a huge J.J. Abrams fan or anything, so I don't think it is a big loss for him not to be attached to it in a big role. But it did feel like the first two films had some weight to them.
Yeah.
They felt like they not meant something. They felt like here comes a Star Trek film.
Yeah.
It felt. I don't know. Maybe it's just the marketing for this one. But it just felt like here comes a Star Trek film. This is going to be big. Look, here's Benedict Cumberbatch. He's Khan. This one felt like straight to DVD.
It did. Yeah.
It felt.
And I think that's a combination of having the different director, but also just a weaker story.
Yeah.
I do. I really do. It just didn't have that epic feel to it.
No, it didn't. It just didn't have. Which is weird because I think the story itself was more epic.
It could have
than
been.
The others. I mean, Into Darkness rarely, very, very rarely strays from Earth.
Yeah.
Even as the first one, to be honest, both of those films are set roughly around Earth or that area. I don't know. I mean, I don't know where Vulcan is, but around. It's very easy for them to get back to Earth within half an hour, say.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, it felt like. We'll bring up another thing in a second, actually. So we'll put a pin in this for a second. Yeah. But it did feel like it was slightly more. It should be more epic, but it just didn't come across.
No, it didn't.
It did. I don't think it felt like straight to DVD in the sense that it was poor quality, because it wasn't. It was a fantastic quality film. It looked good. It sounds good. Yeah. Acting was superb, but
I just don't think it
didn't
had
have
those.
Any weight behind
it didn't have those moments. Like the other films had, those yes moments, those moments of victory. I mean, even at the end, that whole last fight scene with the weird gravity, I don't understand what was going on. He was trying to put this thing into some air conditioning thing so it would spread around, and then he kept on going in and out of this box and sucked out into a vacuum.
There's a lot of ideas
dancing around in zero gravity, and I just didn't get.
There were lots of half-baked ideas that didn't seem to be thought about. They made for good viewing.
It was
but it wasn't thought about.
That whole last thing with the gravity was what will look good on TV.
It was,
not what makes sense from a story point of view.
Yeah.
And that really bugs me about modern films when they write for the sake of visual effects rather than what actually makes sense to tell a story.
Yeah.
The other two films didn't need that. It all made sense.
Yeah.
There were action scenes, but they made sense.
I mean, Into Darkness, you had the whole Khan versus Spock on top of a motorway, essentially.
But it still made sense. You could still understand what was going on.
Yeah.
This one, I didn't have a clue what was happening. It did seem strange
that they had to go into this big glass box which filters every single piece of air in the entire space station,
which in itself is just a stupid idea. It's unrealistic
to attach a device which isn't explained particularly well that spreads some sort of nanobots
and then at some point
that consume people.
I couldn't work out he was in the box, he was out the box, the thing was in the box, and then suddenly they're getting sucked out of the box again and into some sort of vacuum
and then that box, when you pull down all the levers, a vent opens into outer space.
Yeah, which vents everything out.
But then why would you have? Sorry, we're nitpicking here, but why would you have those levers inside the box?
Exactly.
If when you pull them all down, it opens a vent into space and
because it's not a box that a person's ever meant to go in.
So why are the levers in there?
Exactly. It's writing for the sake of visuals and action rather than what makes sense from a storytelling point of view.
Yeah.
And which is, I know it's nitpicking, but all we can compare this film to is the other two Star Trek films.
Yes.
And compared to them, the writing was very poor.
Yeah.
I still thoroughly enjoyed the film.
Yeah.
But it was nothing compared to the previous two.
No.
It really wasn't.
For a third film in a series, most times they suffer. It did fit. It felt like the third film.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. It did. Yeah. It felt like a third film, but it wasn't as bad as a lot of third films are.
Like the Batman third film.
Yeah.
Let's not get started on that.
We're not fans.
No.
Yeah. So I mean, it felt. I don't know. It just lacked some gravitas. It just lacked something.
A
very enjoyable film, but
I think the writing and the directing. If they'd got a better team of writers, I mean, the writers of the first film, Alex Kurtzman and Richard Orkey, I think it is.
Yeah.
Those two guys
Damon
are
Lindelof,
so good.
I think he wrote or produced as well.
I think he produced.
I think it lost a lot of the big players.
Yeah, and it didn't make the most of some of the relationships. I mean, the whole Spock and Uhura thing just sort of got glossed over.
They just pretty much threw it out the window, and
it was just sort of not part of it anymore, which I didn't like.
It did seem weird to suddenly just cut that off.
Yeah.
After building up over 2 films. But I think we've been too negative. So should we talk about some? We'll talk about some positives now. I think.
The new character. Jayla.
Yeah,
I thought she was very good.
I was surprised. I thought she would come across as quite annoying, but she was very good.
No, she's a good character.
Fits in. I hope they include her in the new film, but she's going to Starfleet Academy, so I'm thinking maybe they're going to leave her out. But
no, I think she'll come on board, especially as obviously the sad loss of Chekhov.
Yeah,
who
I'm glad actually that he got quite a. I'm not saying meaty role, but he got to.
I like that he was paired with Kirk.
Yeah,
that was good. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was when I saw him on screen, and one of the last shots is Kirk raises his glasses to absent friends, and the next shot after that was Chekhov.
Was him, yeah.
I don't know whether that was intentional.
I imagine it was edited specially.
I hope it was.
I would have thought, yeah.
That was, yeah. So there was no dedication that I could see, but I didn't sit through the whole credits, and I think it was in the credits, wasn't it?
It was at the end of the credits.
It
was in loving memory of Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, I assume
and then it just said for Anton. So it was
it
was very simple, but it was there.
That's nice. I'm glad they did that, because I didn't sit through the whole credits, but I was a bit sort of, I'm surprised.
Yeah, I thought they'd put the dedications at the start of the credits.
I thought it would be before the film started, literally just a splash screen saying...
Yeah. But there we go.
Yeah, but he was
anyway, so obviously his character isn't being replaced, so I think Jayla will come on board, or sort of as a replacement to him, I think. But she's obviously a very engineering person, having repaired the Franklin, and she can obviously handle herself, in amongst all the electrics and whatever. So I think she's a logical replacement. Yeah.
Logical captain.
And obviously she's a very interesting character, more interesting really than Chekhov.
Ooh.
Because she's an alien, because she's not been around Federation.
Very insensitive.
No, but really Chekhov is he's a guy.
Yeah.
He's a Federation officer.
Yeah.
She's an alien. She doesn't know their ways and how to act as part
fun.
of a crew like that.
Fun interaction.
So yeah, I think
no doubt she'll end up in a romance with Kirk or someone.
I don't think so.
Scotty.
Possibly Scotty, though. I can't see that happening. No. I wouldn't mind it. She was quite hot.
Oh, steady. those white, the pure white face of black lines.
Yeah, I go for the white faces.
Black lines, yeah. Well, that's going to sound so awful.
That does sound awful.
I just want to say, Adam is not a racist. As far as I'm aware, he's not a racist.
No, definitely not. That just came out a bit wrong.
Yeah, we may edit this out. Yeah. We may not.
Anyway, moving on.
Moving on.
No, she was a really good character.
Yeah.
And
do you know why she's called Jayla?
No.
Because they based the character, the manner, the personality of the character, on Jennifer Lawrence in the film. I think it's one of her first films called Winter's Bone.
Right.
And they based it. It's quite a strong character. They based it on her. And Jennifer Lawrence, J-Law. So it's Jayla.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That's how that came to the name.
Oh, really?
There you go. Fun fact.
Wow. Thanks for that.
Yeah. Geek Elite. Fun facts.
Cool. What was I about to say? I liked the way the characters got paired off. I like Jayla and Scotty. I loved seeing Bones and Spock together. I thought that was a really good relationship.
Because it's a love-hate relationship.
Exactly. They're such opposite people.
Yeah.
Bones is just old and grumpy, and Spock is sort of ultimately logical, and I thought that worked really well. And obviously, like you said, it was great seeing Kirk with Chekhov as well.
It was a nice, I know it wasn't obviously intentionally a send-off for Chekhov,
of course
but
not,
it was nice that he was able to stand by the...
Well, he is out of all the main characters, he's the one that could easily be forgotten about.
In Into Darkness, he was very much...
He was a bit
pushed to the back. You don't see him very much in Into Darkness.
No, he gets chucked in engineering,
and then that's pretty much it. I think he makes an appearance and saves Kirk towards
at the end.
But he's very much in the backseat. So I'm glad he actually got a focus. That was a good touch there.
Yeah, so I liked that aspect of the story. the way all the characters, you got to see the relationships between the characters. Like I said before, I wanted more of the romance between Spock and Uhura. Obviously, at the start of the film, they've split up.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Whether they'll bring it back though, because it's kind of evident that
suggested that they'll get back.
They sort of pine for each.
Yeah.
That's not, no pun on Chris Pine, but they sort of pine for each other a little bit. And
well, the idea is that Spock wants to leave Starfleet and go and help his.
He wants to become.
He wants
Ambassador
to help
Spock.
He wants to help his species procreate, basically, because that's what all Vulcans now need to do. And she's upset with that because obviously she doesn't want him going off and having babies with other people, which is fine. But then by the end of the film, we see he's changed his mind and realises that he needs to stay in Starfleet and stay with Kirk and the crew, and so that suggests that they're going to get back together again. He actually says to her at the party at the end, doesn't he? He says, she says, "I thought you were busy tonight." And he says, "Yes, but I wanted to spend time socialising with you," or
something
I'm paraphrasing, but it's something like that. Suggesting that he does want to be with her, and I'm sure she does as well. So I think that'll come back. I don't think it needs to be a major bit of the story. I would have just liked maybe a little bit more of it. Or just leave that out completely. There didn't need to be a separation.
No, we didn't really.
It didn't need to be part of the story in this film, did it? It wasn't relevant.
No.
At all.
No, I suppose the necklace was relevant, but at the same time, she could have had that. She
could have had that anyway.
Yeah.
So really, it didn't need to be in the film that they'd split up and sort of might get back together. But anyway.
Here's a question for you, though.
Yes.
What do you think of Scotty's little mate?
Completely pointless.
He's utterly pointless.
Yeah.
I know he was introduced in the first film. He's probably,
to
some people, he's a fan favourite.
He should have been left behind on the ice planet.
He should have, yeah.
Let's be honest. He doesn't, especially the whole sneezing snot that...
Sneezing acid.
That acts as an acid on the lock, and it was just a bit.
I just think he's a very nothing against the character. I mean, it doesn't offend me, but I just think it's very strange that he's not part of any.
He doesn't talk. Not a language that we understand,
and he's not. He was never part of any. I'm not saying that he should only be characters who were in the original Star Trek.
Yeah.
But he wasn't.
He's not. Was he actually part of Starfleet? Or was he not? I mean, he was on that planet with him, so I guess
never really explained
who
wasn't, or what he is, isn't it?
And it's just he just happens to have been assigned to the Enterprise with Scotty
for a bit of comic relief, and just end up just hanging around.
Yeah, but really, he didn't. Again, he doesn't need to be in the films.
No.
He is. So there we go.
How did you feel about Leonard Nimoy being not Leonard Nimoy, obviously the character Spock?
Yes.
Spock's death. I thought that was quite nice, actually.
It was handled well.
I don't sound heartless, but I kind of almost forgot that Leonard Nimoy had passed. And when it came up in the film, I thought, I was surprised not surprised, but I liked that they referenced it.
I liked it, and it was relevant because obviously it was all about Spock thinking that he wants to leave Starfleet, and that is the major part of it. So I dare say, even if Leonard Nimoy hadn't passed away, that they might have written something like that into the story anyway. Because it made sense to give Spock that ultimatum of, do I want to stay or do I want to go?
Yeah.
I thought it was handled really nicely.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, it was very nice.
I didn't really get the whole Idris Elba thing, to be honest.
I didn't even realise Idris Elba was in the film.
No, I'm not a fan of his anyway, but I didn't really get I've just not enjoyed anything I've seen him in. Simple as that. I've got nothing against the guy, but I've just not enjoyed any of his films. So at the moment he's not top of my list for actors that I want to watch. But I've been told he is a good actor, but he was a bit wasted, I thought, under all that makeup.
I didn't even, this might be a credit for him, his acting skills, but even when he was in his makeup, I didn't realise it was him.
Well, no. Well, obviously they changed his voice so much as well, so it may as well have just been a CGI character, really. Yeah. I'm glad it wasn't, because the CGI characters at the start of the film looked awful. In that comedy scene right at the start.
Oh, we're going negative again.
We are going negative, I know, but I don't know why those characters were CGI.
It was for a bit of fun, I think. It was just to...
I don't watch Star Trek for fun, though. I watch it for
I suppose it's like the same, the sort of the trouble with tribbles. It's that side of Star Trek, isn't it? The sort of the fun, campy, wacky-ness of it.
It wasn't handled that well.
You prefer your Deep Space Nines and your...
Yes, I do.
Your wars.
I do. I did like... I liked all the action scenes. I know we moaned about it earlier, but I did enjoy the motorbike scene.
Yeah,
and again, that was a nice yes moment when he flies and they grab hands and then get teleported.
It's a shame that scene's in the trailer.
Yes, it did spoil that bit. Yeah,
that's kind of one of the key scenes.
And it still didn't. It wasn't edited that well.
No,
because you never quite actually saw their hands touch, and then suddenly they're landing on the teleporter pad. You just needed that little, literally maybe just a second more of the build up, and they finally grabbing hands.
Yeah,
and that sort of yes.
Yeah.
He got her. He rescued her. They needed to make a bit of a bigger deal about him going back to rescue her because she thought she'd been abandoned. And obviously Kirk was willing to sacrifice himself to try and save her. I thought again they just needed to build that up a little bit more, make it a bit more dramatic, a bit more cliched, I suppose. But I think you expect some of that from Star Trek.
Yeah, you
it's
kind
of
want
franchise. You want those slightly cheesy moments,
don't you?
You do.
Yeah.
But again, it just wasn't quite edited as well as I thought it could have been.
I thought
still fun.
We touched on it slightly earlier, but the destruction of the Enterprise I thought was
spectacular. The idea of the swarm of little ships that just tear ships apart by flying straight through them was really
very
good.
Good alien race actually.
Yeah, really good, really interesting.
But, did you? I don't know if it's intentional, but almost a generations nod when the saucer hits the planet's surface and skims along the planet, ripping the ground and through the trees. It was very Generations. I mean, that whole scene, that whole thing. I mean, it went on for about 10 minutes or so, didn't it? Through the ship, literally the ship being ripped apart.
Yeah, it was very.
People getting sucked through the airlocks, having to evacuate the ship.
It was probably the best scene in the film. I think the best sort of action, certainly.
I mean, I assume that was an actual nod to Search for Spock. Because the ship that's when the Enterprise gets destroyed in that one.
Yeah.
And then they reveal the Enterprise A at the end, which they do in this film.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if that was intentional. I assume it was.
I guess so, yeah.
They all seem to follow not follow, but they seem to have a slight template.
Yes.
Which is funny because the fourth film, which has been confirmed is happening, the fourth film in the original series run was The Voyage Home, which is the time travelling one.
Yes.
And the fourth one, we now know that Chris Hemsworth is going to return as what's his name? Is it James? Is it James Kirk?
Yeah.
It is James Kirk.
Yeah,
isn't
it's just James Kirk. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and then obviously his son is named Tiberius. Middle name Tiberius after the granddad, I think it is, or something like that. Yeah.
But he'll be returning to reprise his role as, let's just say Kirk's father.
Yeah.
And I assume that he will interact with his son. So,
I hope so.
Time travel?
Yeah, I would like to see a time travel story. I think that has potential, definitely.
Yeah.
But like you say, it's interesting to see that the template of the original films to this is very similar.
Yeah. So that means the fifth one's going to be shit.
What was the fifth one originally?
The Final Frontier.
Is that one where they meet God?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't really remember it much because it was terrible.
It was terrible. It does have one of the best lines in the series, though.
Does it?
Which is Kirk asking God, what does God need with a starship? Which I quite like. It's very strange.
It's a relevant question.
Because God, he claims to be God, this thing, and he needs the Enterprise to leave.
Yeah.
And Kirk questions him. Why do you need? If you're God, why do you need a starship? Why can't you just leave?
Yeah.
I quite like that. Sorry, that's what I'm saying for another time. But I really like that. I think it's a very good, a very interesting scene. But Final Frontier, and then we've got the Undiscovered Country.
Yes.
And then at that point, we'll probably start having Star Trek Discovery movies.
Yeah, probably.
Maybe. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
or they'll just reboot the whole franchise again.
Yeah. I hope they don't.
No, it doesn't need it.
I hope they don't. Or if they do, just do it, but do it in a different time period.
Yeah.
Don't copy what's happened before. Don't reboot. Just start after Next Generation. Let's have a future series with the Enterprise F.
I think we've already had an F at some point.
No.
Was it E?
E was the last one.
E was in First Contact.
E was in it up till Nemesis, and we don't know what happened after. I think there is an F in the extended universe. I think it was actually in one of the games. I think it's Star Trek Online or something. But other than that, I don't believe there's any after that we know of that are official anyway.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
Okay.
But They do seem to be quite reluctant to expand the timeline.
Yeah.
They seem to very much stack series and movies on top of each other rather than taking, like, spreading.
Yeah. Well, that's because it's not as good as Star Wars.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Star Wars isn't scared to tell...
bollocks to Star Trek.
Well, the thing is, with Star Wars now, they're telling stories... Even if they are set in the same time period, they're telling stories of individual characters and that. That wouldn't work with Star Trek. You couldn't do the same sort of thing.
No.
So they're just sticking to the formula they've got, basically, which I understand. But I mean, it'll be interesting to see where we go. I mean, they're certainly the main two characters, Kirk and Spock, are signed up for number 4. The others aren't, but I'm sure they'll do it.
I think the cast originally only signed up for a 3-movie deal.
Yeah.
So I suppose if any of them say they don't want to do it, then but that can be easily written out. I mean, Chekhov. I mean, I assume that in the 4th one, it either won't be referenced at all, or it will simply be, he's Chekhov's the captain of this ship now, or something like that.
I would have thought so. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think they actually did that in one of the other films.
Yeah, with was it Jonathan Frakes had Riker had gone off to be captain of someone else?
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah, I was thinking Riker, but I can't think what it would be.
No.
What film it is. I mean, I know
maybe it's not one of the films. Maybe it was
in the one of the Next Generation films. They obviously reference Worf being Deep Space Nine and Deep Space Nine Defiant officer, but doesn't matter. Can't remember.
No, I can't remember. No.
But
yeah, that's possible. But I can't imagine why they wouldn't want to do it.
Oh, I just remembered what it was. Sorry,
go on.
He wasn't written out of it, but in Star Trek 6, Sulu isn't a member of the Enterprise.
Oh, yes.
He's in the film, but he's the captain of the Excelsior.
Yes, that's right. Yeah.
That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
So,
no, you're right.
He's in the film, but
I
he's.
I don't know those films.
But
it
just shows that they can take characters and place them on different ships without much.
Yeah.
Without questioning it. It's like no one's tied to the Enterprise apart from Kirk. Yeah. But anyone else can simply be written out by saying they're not on the ship anymore.
But they couldn't afford to lose more than one of the main characters without losing the dynamic of the show. So I'm pretty sure they'll pay whatever it takes to get all those actors back to do another one.
Yeah.
I mean, they make huge amounts of money from it, so pay them what they need, basically.
Yeah.
But then from the actors' point of view, from what I understand, they all enjoy doing it. So if they can fit it in a schedule,
and they've all come back for 3. I mean, I know contractually obliged to do it, but
but still, it's got to be fun making those films. So I'm sure it will happen, and who knows, it might go on after 4.
I hope so. I hope so. I enjoy these films.
I just hope it doesn't go downhill, because it could. Following this one, I mean, they have got worse each time. I thought the first one I would have given 5 out of 5. Into Darkness I would have given 4 out of 5. This one I'd give 3 out of 5. So in my opinion, they have slowly got worse.
They have, but not by a lot.
No,
I don't think the gap between quality is that much. No. I mean, I liked it Into Darkness. I think what they actually all suffer from, all of the films suffer from a weak villain. The first one, Nero.
Well, he didn't do anything.
I get it, but they all have really dubious motives.
Yeah.
Like Nero, his planet Romulus gets destroyed.
Yeah. And he takes revenge on Spock when it wasn't Spock's fault.
It wasn't Spock's fault.
So he destroys the entire
planet. Now he's stuck
planet.
in the future. No, he's stuck in the past. He's from the future.
Yeah.
Stuck in the past, and now he hates everything and wants to destroy the Federation.
Yeah. You're right. It is. It's
strange.
a bit.
In the second one, Khan.
Stretch.
I know it follows the Wrath of Khan storyline, but Khan it gets used by the Federation, and now hates it. It seems that everyone gets wronged by the Federation.
Yeah.
There's no other motive other than the Federation has annoyed you.
Yeah. Yeah, and obviously it's exactly the same in this one now.
It seems that every motive of every villain is, the Federation's really annoyed me.
Yeah.
I'm going to kill them all.
Yeah. Rather than just a bad guy that hates everyone.
Yeah.
It's always it's targeted at the Federation, but really there's not a lot of logic behind it.
I think I would like in the in future ones to have I know we've seen the Klingons, but I'd like a good Klingon villain.
Yeah.
I think it's for such a famous alien race.
Like
if you say to someone Klingon, they will
everyone
know. Like if you said to someone Dalek.
Yeah.
They'd know what Dalek was, more than likely.
Yeah.
I just think that the Klingons could be good. You could get a good villain. I mean, they are the enemy at this time period. They are at war or almost at war with the Federation. So it'd be good to have a war setting. Yeah,
and in the second film, for the brief moments they were in it, they looked awesome.
Yeah, they did. They've made them really a very interesting. They've rebooted that race quite well.
Yeah, But, bring Michael Dorn back.
Yeah. Even for
if it's time travel, it could happen. Come on, Worf.
Well, he's actually in. Worf is Michael Dorn. He's in the Undiscovered Country. He's
I remember he plays like a background Klingon or something, doesn't he? Yeah,
well,
a different one.
He plays one of the. I think he plays essentially a Klingon lawyer.
Right.
I think he might even be called Worf.
Really?
Yeah.
Possibly.
I don't think he's not supposed to be the same character. I think canon suggests he's a different character.
Yeah.
But
I think that's how he got the job on Next Generation, wasn't it? I think it led on to it.
Yeah, quite possibly. But yes, I mean that was Star Trek Beyond.
Yeah.
Very enjoyable. 3 out of 5?
Yeah, I'd say that's fair, yeah.
Yeah.
Looking forward to number 4.
Me too. And Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah.
As possibly James Kirk, we don't know, we think that's his name.
Yeah.
If not, Kirk's dad. Right, okay. Well, that is it. That is the Geek Elite podcast. Thank you for joining us. Anything we've spoken about today, more than likely we'll put into the show notes. So be sure to take a look, and we should put some links in there as well to things that we've noticed. So that has been it. Let's wrap it up.
It's been a pleasure, as always. Well,
not for the listeners.
No. Yeah, sorry if you've had to sit through that.
Yeah, well, thank you for listening to it, regardless. And
we'll try and make the next one more interesting.
Yes. So thank you for listening. We'll be back as soon as we can, time permitting. Yep. Hopefully we'll get one back in the next few weeks or so, or when something relevant happens.
Yes, well, hopefully next time we'll have Suicide Squad to discuss, or I certainly will.
You will, I'm not. I don't want to see it.
I'm sure we'll find some other nuggets.
Yeah, I'm sure there's plenty to talk about. But until then, live long and prosper.
Farewell.
Goodbye.